mind that. What was that?
Hi!
Who are you?
BARFF!
Not in here, mister. This is a Mercedes.
Nah, that's my name. BARFF!
BARFF? What are you?
And here we go, BARFF Fantasy Football Podcast, Season 4, Episode 10.
Wow.
Here we are in the BARFF Podcast Studio. I'm Brian Kamish, and here all the way from far up north, the co-host of the show, now an owner of Born to Run, Walt's here. Walt, how are you tonight?
Oh, I'm really good tonight. I would have came from 5 hours away just to talk about my big victory this week.
Yeah, we got a lot to talk about. There's a lot going on the scoreboard, and there's a lot going on behind the scenes. And so where do you want to start talking about Week 9?
Oh, I mean, I'm bursting. So let's go to Born to Run versus the Pantloads.
Born to Run taking on Sody Pantloads. Always a fun game. This time it goes to a 124 to 106 victory for Born to Run. Walt, you're seeming like you have a story to tell, and we're listening. Tell me about this game.
So once again, I came close to screwing myself. It was... Look at that. I even got music talking about.
Yeah, that was a little ring. We're being joined on the line as you start your discussion of this game. We're being joined by the owner of Worst Team Ever. Tyler's on the line. Ty, how are you tonight?
Outstanding.
Good. How are we doing?
Oh, we're good, Ty.
We're doing good. So I just asked Walt to tell us about his victory over Sody Pantloads 124 to 106. Walt, go ahead.
Yeah, so again, it almost came down to me once again pooching myself, because at 10:30 a.m., for some reason, I had C.J. Stroud in my lineup and was pretty committed. And for some reason, I said, you know what, I'm going with Dak. I'm going to switch him out. So immediately, Sunday comes and the games get rolling. And, Tyler's telling me, we're watching the game, Cowboys together, talking about Stroud and how many points he has. And I'm like, I can't believe I did this to myself again. But as luck would have it, I think the big, and I got to say, major concern for the Pantloads is Zach Moss got 2, losing carries to Taylor.
Mm-hmm.
I see his role really diminishing.
Yeah.
DK, he seems like he has disappeared in the last.
He seems to have checked out. I think there needs to be a change of scenery for DK Metcalf.
Yeah, or some kind of psychiatrist to get through his.
No, that's not going to work.
That
He needs to change the scenery.
So that kind of offset, that big point. Not that Dak didn't have a good game. So at least I was right about that. I mean, he had 32 points.
Yeah, that's a big game.
Yeah, so, I had finally had decent scoring throughout my whole lineup. Nobody really tanked like I usually get. And the Pantloads, unfortunately, not one of their better weeks. When you only get 8 out of Chase, that kind of hurts a little.
That hurt. You're not expecting that,
right?
And, that gets offset though, because you're also not expecting 27 points from Rachaad White. So,
which is what I told him as well, because I felt, you can complain a little about this or that, but come on, you got 27 of Rachaad White, give me a break. But I know the Pantloads, that was a tough one. I was very happy, though, to actually see my team, break 100 and get a win. And, and we'll look later when you look at the standings. I have renewed optimism that I can at least make some kind of run at this.
Sure.
Which is exciting. And, my only concern, I guess, is, Sox fan 3276, big upset by Born to Run. Where's he at? Is it a homeless shelter? Where is he?
I've heard different things about that, about his background. I will say that I'll remind everyone the chat line is open and the phone lines are open as well. Just hit up my cell and you can get on the show. Ty, tell us about this game. I'm sure you were watching it with a little bit of an interested eye as Born to Run takes on Sody Pantloads. What was your reaction to this result?
Yeah, well, I told Born to Run I was coming over to watch the Cowboys game, but in reality it was a welfare check when I saw Stroud put up the 40 points just to make sure he wasn't going to do anything crazy there. But yeah, I really didn't think he was going to be able to pull it off with having 49 points on his bench there.
Yeah.
47, yeah.
But
hey, sometimes, fantasy football, luck's got to go your way, and Dak had that good game. It was enough to put him ahead.
Yeah. So, Walt, this is the springboard for you. This is, you couldn't be sitting at that one win mark, but now we're past the halfway point into the dirty part of the season.
Mm-hmm.
There's life in Born to Run town.
Yeah, there is. We're going to look at, a lot of people helped me out. basically on the scoreboard. I think some of the teams I wanted to win, they won, and it just kind of kept people within reach.
Well, I don't want to give any preview information or anything like that, but you're welcome. And what game? Where do you want to go now?
Well, let's talk about the gift that you gave me, which is the Moppers. Even though I personally have felt this was a good upset special with the Knuckleheads maybe winning,
me too.
The Moppers, I guess they showed why they're one of the better teams in the league.
Whopper Moppers take this one, moving to 7-2 and staying in first place. 129 to 108. 108 was a recurring theme. I think 3 teams had 108, 3 teams had 106. It was the week of 106s and 108s. But Whopper Moppers takes this one decisively, 129 to 108. Knuckleheads needed good effort on Monday night, and they did not get it, as Justin Herbert puts up his season's worst score at the worst time for the Knuckleheads. Knuckleheads are in 8th place at 3-6. Ty, I'll go to you. 3-6 for the Knuckleheads, and the Whopper Moppers look strong. Was there any hope in this, and do the Knuckleheads have any hope moving forward?
Yeah, I was thinking like border on this was going to be an upset. With OG Fortnite coming out, I really thought Tom was going to be distracted and not have his head in the game this week. But hey, he showed out why he's one of the top teams in the league and made the right decisions and did what he had to do to get that W.
Well, what was the key to this game for Whopper Moppers?
I think he's got last week I mistakenly said he's in trouble at QB with Cousins. Well, he actually plugged in the hottest quarterback in the NFL right now, in my opinion, and playing the best is Joe Burrow. Yeah. So, Burrow 26 looked awesome. And then, like you said, I knew the Jets would be tough for Herbert, but I didn't think it'd be 7 points worth only.
7 points.
That I was shocked honestly shocked by that number.
Yeah, I did not like it. I thought for sure I could at least manage. You're thinking 20s. Could he get more than that? And I just needed a little help.
Absolutely.
I just needed a little help. Betrayed, though, there was a little bit of a power outage. Devontae Adams is just not having that game. When you're getting 7 points against the Giants, playing against rookies, there's just problems, and the Giants D throws a -4, which just turned out to be not a thing. But Justin Herbert and Devontae Adams, I'm not benching them. There's nothing to be done there. You're just getting 14 points at a terrible time. So.
Yeah, exactly. There's no way. Herbert's too good, and like you said, you can't bench them. And Moppers once again. Madison looks. I was ready to write him off. He looked good, and now Cam Akers is out for the year.
Yep.
So that the Moppers, like I said, they're wide receivers. He's solid. He's going to be tough.
Yeah, that could be the best set of wide receivers in fantasy right now, or at least in BARFF. And you've got Diggs and A.J. Brown, and Joe Burrow's coming into his own. So good things moving forward for Whopper Moppers. Where are we headed next?
Well, let's talk about the closest game was the Beans and no lineup needed. Yeah. That was
what a great
amazing.
Game. What a great game. We talked about 108s and 106s, and that was the story of this game. No lineup needed. Going to 4-5 with a 108 to 106 victory over the Boston Beans. Beans fall to 6-3, and they're sitting in 4th place. Walt, what did it for no lineup this week?
I think, other than it was Dak and CD. And then with the New Orleans defense getting 13 as well. But, CD with the 29, Dak was looking at him early and often, and that's, he really put that, 29 points. You love when you get that kind of production out of a guy.
Oh, yeah. That makes you breathe quite a bit easier. Ty, you're looking at this game, the Beans going up against no lineup needed, no lineup playing, acting like a team desperate for wins. They're down in that bottom part of our standings right now, fighting for every win. What won it for them this week? What was the difference maker?
Yeah, it was CeeDee Lamb. He showed up and catching that ball. I said, unfortunately, the game didn't end up how us Cowboys fans wanted to go, but catching that kind of attempted Hail Mary at the end there that didn't end up going for the touchdown. It was kind of crazy watching the end of that game unfold.
Yeah,
knowing that no lineup was going to pull ahead there. And really proved that once again Tony's team is a fraud. It doesn't belong at the top.
There was some texting back and forth that indicated that there was some fraud talk happening.
Yeah, but I'm going to defend the Beans, right? Because the way they've been winning is with 2 guys, Hurts and McCaffrey.
Yeah.
And he missed I'm telling you, if he's got McCaffrey in there,
No.
I'm going to
He
go
wins
out
this
on a
one.
limb.
Yeah, he'll get
He's
those
going to
3
win
points.
this game.
Yep.
So, the way those two are going together, I mean, I might not feel the Beans have the best team, but I think they're definitely a playoff team
Yep.
with those two guys.
Yep. No lineup is really getting very steady performances week in and week out from Michael Pittman Jr. That could end up being a sneaky MVP type of performance. He's up there and he flies under the radar. No one really sees him coming. But you get 14 points, he'll take 14 points every week from a guy.
Definitely. You know what the best part that made me feel the best about this game? When I see Bijan curse Christian and get 5 points.
Yeah, the trade sure didn't help Christian this time, so it was his team.
The people that said I got fleeced, I want you to call in because I kind of feel bad for Christian right now. Stevenson was huge. Bijan 2 games. I don't know. He's got like 12 points in 2 games.
I don't know what they're doing in Atlanta.
They're ruining him is just what they're doing.
They are. They should just be giving him a lot more touches. So that's good for no lineup. I'll remind everyone also, Walt alluded to it, chat is open, phone lines are open. Walt, where are we going next?
Let's talk about this surging Soaring Eagles.
The Soaring Eagles put up a big week-leading 130 in taking out Huey Lewis and the News, 130 to 108. That takes the Soaring Eagles into second place among the 6-3 teams. Huey Lewis drops to 4-5 out of the playoff mix so far in 7th. Walt, what are we going to do with these Eagles? Because they don't seem to be slowing down anytime soon.
Well, and we'll talk about this later. I think we do nothing because, I don't know, the owner, we got a good thing going and decides to tinker around with it. I say just let him do his own thing and he might self-destruct. So that's
self-destruction.
Yeah.
All right, Ty, the segue has occurred, so let's talk about that first trade of the week.
Please.
The Soaring Eagles package up Josh Allen, the number 1 rated quarterback in fantasy, and I don't have it in front of me. So they end up with Dalton Kincaid and Jonathan Taylor. I can't argue with that. But who else did they package? Nico Collins? Is that who went in that trade?
Yeah, let's look. I kind of forgot too.
I think it was Nico Collins.
Let's take a look.
Well, let's put it this way. I don't really care who you packaged him with because the guy's got no QB now.
No, this is why it was bad.
Gus Edwards.
Oh, that's right. It was
Gus
Gus the Bus. So I will give that Gus Edwards has the potential to fall off. I was scratching my head about this one also. So I'll let you guys weigh in on it. Well, your take on this trade.
Again, I'm not saying it was a horrible trade. I just don't know if it's a trade you need to make. When you're rolling, you got 2 guys that are performing.
Yep.
All I can say is, and I wish you would call in, is he's getting that feeling Taylor's rising up stock, and although there's no indication that Gus's stock is going down, he's projecting and maybe thinking playoffs.
His carries are going down. They're working in Keontae
Yes, I saw
Woods, or I'm getting the Keontaes mixed up. But so there, I will discuss an element of this if he doesn't call in. Ty, your thoughts on the trade?
I just don't know what he's doing. When I first saw the trade, I'm like, oh, okay, it's not that bad. He's got Tua. And I'm like, oh, wait, no, he also traded Tua away earlier in the season.
He did.
So the guy goes from having the best quarterback in fantasy football right now to, as he said, or getting a quarterback he can't even pronounce the name of. What's he doing? I mean, we had dubbed Soaring Eagles. We were talking with some of the owners that Soaring Eagles were probably one of the better leagues in the team, if not the best. And then this occurs. We just ate our words. I don't know what's going on over at Soaring Eagles HQ.
All right, so I just called up on the screen Josh Allen, who has been playing really good. And then I want to look at where he's going as we start to jockey in the playoff position, because I had to do this. I didn't have Soaring Eagles has a lot going on this week. I didn't want to be bothering him with this. But so you've got a Week 10 game against Denver, so you're salivating at that. But then you've got the Jets, Philly, a bye, the Chiefs, who are playing good against quarterbacks, and then Dallas. That's not a great way to close out the regular season. And, that's all I can really think about. heading into the playoffs, you want some of those matchups. You want that New England matchup in the championship week for sure.
And the Chargers.
The Chargers, a shootout. And he could very well be looking down the barrel of Huey Lewis in the playoffs, regretting this. But I think what he was doing was maybe thinking he was selling high on both. I just don't know where he goes, because if you look at the lineup right now, and I haven't checked recent activity, I don't know that there's another quarterback.
Yeah, who's his QB?
He doesn't. I don't think he has one right now. And
it's Levi's, as he calls him.
Oh, well, okay.
That's what we picked up.
All right. So,
oh my goodness.
So that's you got to be hoping for the upside. Will Levis does look great right now, but he's a rookie, and so that's a lot of hope. That's faith, in the hopes that Will Levis and Jonathan Taylor can ride him out into glory this year.
Boy.
Yeah.
Wait, I think maybe he got just too comfortable with. I don't know. I just thought this is a real head scratcher now.
It's hard.
Because I didn't even look at that deep to see who he had.
Yeah,
I just assumed he had another decent quarterback.
Yeah, he had already made
We're
that trade.
going to Will Levis. Wow.
Yeah. He's riding it out with Will Levis. So that's
we might be talking a lot about this come playoff time.
We could be. Yeah, there's no doubt. We'll be keeping this one on the calendar. All right, where are we heading next?
I'm still stunned. I got to collect myself for a second.
Hold on, Sox fan is weighing in. Sox fan came off the street, found an internet connection.
Okay, so he's alive.
Probably outside of some internet cafe or some coffee shop. Soren Eagles with the big brain move of trading away their number one QB. He loves Will Levis. Speaking of Soren Eagles, that's Sox fans' opinion. So Soren is stuck in Denver traffic right now. He's probably looking to defend himself. I hope he doesn't have this playing on the phone and is pounding the steering wheel in frustration. But right now, call in whenever. Soren Eagles will be on for a bit, and you can say your piece on this. That's fine. Well, where are we headed now?
We only got worst team ever. Tyler's game, a big win. I thought he might have been in trouble.
I thought he might have been in trouble also. Yep. This was another really good game. Worst team ever, improving to 6-3, sitting in third place with a 113, a 106, another 106 victory over the Springfield Rifle. Hard Luck Rifle followed 2-7, sitting in ninth place. Tyler, you're on the line. Tell us about your game this week.
Yeah, I mean, I was a little bit nervous myself. I don't know. I will get ahead of myself until we talk about next week's game, but Adam Thielen just, with Bryce Young back in there, he just hasn't been the same. Mm-hmm. So he put up, I believe it was an 11th spot in last week's game. And just, a little bit of a power outage. I mean, it's not going to be too often Kenneth Walker only gets you 2 points. Tough there. Kamara and Olave too, a little bit down. But hey, you know what? In the end, playoff teams get the wins when they need to, and got that, important number 6 win.
Yeah, when you get 24 points from your defense, fantasy football gods want you to win.
Exactly.
That's fine.
That's exactly
there's
right.
nothing wrong with that. I wish that happened.
Right.
Every week.
I'll take it. I'm not going to.
I'd like to take it one time because, again, how many times have we seen this year? Look at a differential. 26-point differential on defense.
That's crazy.
That wins a game.
That wins the game.
Exactly. It's unbelievable.
And the Rifle did not have a bad week. They get a serviceable performance from Carr. Eckler does good. Derrick Henry's playing well lately. Keenan Allen does the job. Cole Kmet goes over 20 points. You just lost. You just lose. It's a hard luck season for the Rifle. They did okay. It just didn't come up with enough.
No, you're right, and I think the maybe the crazy part is like the Chief Dolphin game. Everybody thought that was going to be a high scoring affair, that almost cost no lineup as well.
I know those Dolphins. I don't understand. Yeah, like it makes me nervous. Like, and we'll talk about another trade later, but it makes me nervous that I have a Dolphin on my lineup because they look great every third week, like the best offense you've seen, and then they go through these pedestrian 17-point efforts. It's a tale of two teams. I don't know what the deal is, to be honest.
Yeah, they're so wildly inconsistent. It's unbelievable. It's tough, and that's made it hard as an owner when you got Waddle, you got to rely and say, okay, what's this week going to bring us?
Yep, I worry, because Mostert has gone over 40 points some weeks, and then other weeks he goes in single digits. And in playoffs, if I'm to make the playoffs, I need more 40s than single digits. Right. That's for sure. So that's week 9 in the books. It was a week of 108s and 106s, and a lot of teams jockeying for position. And we're going to take a quick look at the standings before we look at week 10. because that's going to tell us how important these Week 10 games are. And clearly, Whopper Moppers, our only 7-win team right now, 7-2 after 9 games. We've got 3 teams at 6-3. Soaring Eagles, worst team ever, and Boston Beans at 6-3. So, Sody Pantloads all alone at 5-4. 2 4-5 teams. No lineup needed. Huey Lewis in the news. Knuckleheads in purgatory at 3-6. The Rifle at 2-7, tied with Born to Run down at 2-7. And everyone is, we talk about math. Everyone's right in it right now for those last spots. Right now, Walt, you're in last place, 2 spots out of the last playoff spot. You can't be too upset about that.
I mean, I'm even happier because on the weekend, I thought my playoff chances went to 2%, but then now they're 3.
They're at 3%.
I'm 3 times more likely to make the playoffs than I was a week ago.
That's correct.
I'm really optimistic here.
The fantasy football algorithm is working for you.
Exactly. And, I got to say this. There's plenty of room for teams to come, down below with us because, I look at some of the teams that are, I think, experiencing some issues. The Pantloads, the Beans, and now I'm going to even throw the Soaring Eagles because I think they clipped their own wings. So, I don't know. I think this is going to – the only team I'm going to say, it says 99% for the Whopper Moppers. Book it. That's 100% right there. He's in the playoffs.
They've got their 7th win, and they look really great.
A lot of high point total.
Second highest point total in the league so far. Things are working out really well for them, and a pretty low points against. So you want that combination every single time.
So he's definitely distancing himself. I just think the pack after that is really, kind of equalized.
It's getting there.
It is. Sure. And this week's going to have a huge impact on these standings.
I agree. Let's look at Week 10 because the matchups that we see in Week 10 are going to affect the standings. There's going to be some jockeying around this week. It's one of my the favorite weeks. Where do you want to start with Week 10 action?
Let's go right at it. Me and you, the battle of the host.
It is the co-host battle. Knuckleheads at 3-6 taking on Born to Run opponent at 2-7. It's interesting about that number 3 because I can tell you really want to be 3-7, and I really don't want to be 3-7.
Isn't it amazing how the same record can look so much different to two people?
There are 2 different perspectives happening here. I'm ready to play the bomb graphic just talking about my team, but I'm trying. We did a little switching around of some players this week. I packaged up Joe Mixon and who did I send over? Joe Mixon and Tank Dell, and I picked up Jerome Ford, the $150 man, and DJ Moore. DJ Moore starts out with 10 points. Is that 10 points going to be enough, Walt, this week? Who takes this game?
Well, I must say, and we talked off air on this, in the beginning of the game last night, I saw DJ Moore get 5 points in a span of 7 minutes. And I figured, okay, Christian, thank you for screwing me, sending over the guy that got 52 on a Thursday night against me.
Yep.
But they kind of, which was good for me because I decided to plug in Foreman instead of Cook. The Bears all of a sudden really committed to the run. And, so, I mean, that was tough because I think when the game started, I clearly felt you had an advantage of DJ over Foreman and that.
Yeah, I thought so too.
And, the one thing I got to say, I don't like your matchups this week. I think you got...
Not a lot to like.
You got Ford against probably the toughest D in the league.
Yep.
San Francisco with a bye. Kirk, I think they're going to give Jacksonville trouble.
Nope.
Adams against the Jets. The Jets prove they can shut anybody down.
Devontae versus Sauce Gardner. That's
and even Schultz. Actually, the Bengals, that's a good matchup. I think the Bengals are one of the worst teams against tight ends. So, I mean, to me, it's really going to be interesting because, I had to throw Ridley back in because Waddle's out. But, and Cooper's against Baltimore.
Yep.
So same there.
Yep.
Do I like Prescott against the G-Men? Yes, I do.
Of course you do.
So
how can you not like that matchup?
And I think projections probably evened out. So I think we're going to have a really, really close game.
Yeah, this is a must-have for both teams, and it's looking really tight, so it'll be fun. Ty, who takes this game? Born to Run takes on Knuckleheads.
I don't know. it's a tough one for me, but I think, you know what, I'm going to go on a limb and say whoever does win this game is going to sneak into the playoffs.
Wow! All right.
So I think this is playoff implications already.
Wow!
It's going to give whatever team they need the juice to get over that hump.
I like it.
All right, Ty, give me your opinion on this trade between Knuckleheads and No Lineup Needed. Jerome Ford and DJ Moore get swapped for Joe Mixon and Tank Dell.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought it up. So I'm curious, what made you want to make this move? I just see it almost as kind of a lateral move and a move to just to shake things up. And if that's what it was, that's fine. You know, you got to do what you got to do. But I'm really curious what kind of put you over the edge to make that trade.
I thought that I could get some value out of Tank Dell, who, I mean, yes, the Houston looks good some weeks, but let's face it, they're not the Dolphins. Right. I mean, the Dolphins aren't even the Dolphins some weeks. And so is Tank Dell going to be this 40-point-a-week player that he's got this hype? I don't think so. I think that DJ Moore, I thought Fields was coming back this week. That's on me, and he did not. But Fields and DJ Moore have had some really good games early in the season. I think that this team is trying to put something together, a little momentum at the end. So I really wanted that receiver in my mix because I've got too many. I had Tank Dells and Jerry Jeudy's and inconsistent Drake Londons, and I just wanted that player to plug in. I saw Ford and Mixon as a wash. I don't think that Mixon, he's got a lot of volume so far this season, but now we're into the dark part of the season for running backs that had a lot of volume early, and Jerome Ford is getting the same work, so that's kind of a wash for me.
Yeah, and I think Bengals are always a pass first team anyway, and I saw Mixon only has a 3.9 rush average, so right. I thought it was a good trade personally.
Yeah, there's been some teams that have been coming to Knuckleheads land, and this was to me the most intelligent one. I think that both owners, I think that No Lineup wanted Mixon to stabilize a really tough running back situation. It could have turned out a little bit different for them, but I think it'll work out for both teams. That's my hope. So
yeah, I mean, if BTR didn't fleece No Lineup on the trade, he wouldn't be looking for Joe Mixon. I don't want to say that.
Christian traded for a running back and said, "You know what I got to do? I got to trade for a running back."
Because I traded my best one away.
Not great.
Sorry, Christian. I'm just having some fun.
Yeah, definitely not the explosiveness of the previous trade that we talked about. But we'll see how it works out over the next couple of weeks for both teams. Where do we want to go for next game for Week 10?
All right. Let's see. What else? What looks good? Well, I think this one has a lot of implications for me. I want to talk about the Rifle and Huey.
Yeah, I was just going to say that for us down at the bottom looking to claw their way up, we like to see this matchup. Springfield Rifle 2-7, 9th place, take on Huey Lewis and the News 4-5 sitting in 7th place. For those of us looking to move up, knowing that one of these two teams is going to lose, hopefully one of these two teams is going to lose, it really has that appeal for us to hold that interest. Walt, who takes this game?
This is going to be a hell of a shootout, in my opinion, because, Buffalo coming off, I'll say kind of a bad loss. I think they're going to be really, fired up, and they're playing Denver, who has not looked good at all. I mean, I can't wait to see Jahmyr Gibbs, the week before they went on bye, if that was a fluke. But you got him in there. Deontay Johnson looks good. Laporta, I love him. But then on the flip side, man, getting Debo back in the lineup. Yeah. Keenan with Derek Carr, who's actually playing decent. Great matchups. I mean, what's the projection on it? 119, 123? I think it is going to be that tight. But I'm going to give Huey the edge just because Josh Allen, Derek Carr, I mean, to me, that puts you over the top in this game.
Yep, there are juicy matchups on both sides of the ball. That Chargers and Lions game is all over this matchup. Ty, who takes this between the Springfield Rifle and Huey Lewis and the News?
I think Sword Eagles gifted Huey Lewis and the News a victory here with the trade of Josh Allen. I think that is going to be the difference maker, with this.
Could be, yeah, it could be. We could be talking about that for some time. Hold on. Sox fan was weighing in. This is a kind of an interesting question. Is WTEP in right now?
Water.
He heard some water running.
Slow.
Oh no, sorry. I was playing with some meat here, so I had to wash the hands. Not my own meat. Meat for dinner.
I mean, that was just,
I was just going to jump in.
Thank you for clarifying.
I had questions. All right, very good. Very good. Well, let's get out of here. Where are we going for our next game?
Let's see. Let's go back to the Pantloads with the once mighty Soaring Eagles.
Yeah, we're going out west for a game against Soaring Eagles at 6-3. Second place taking on Sody Pantloads 5-4. Fifth place in the playoff hunt in that top six. Right now, the projections are looking not terrific for the Soaring Eagles, as the Sody Pantloads are favored 122-109. But Soaring Eagles also has some lineup changes.
Yeah, they got to throw in a receiver in there.
Yeah. So looking at this, they've got, as part of that trade, they've got Dalton Kincaid in the lineup, who could very well be, shoring up a weaker position that they had for sure. With Goddard being out. Goddard is, I don't know, is he out for the season?
No, he fractured his forearm, I heard, like 4 weeks.
Right,
so 4 to 6 is what I heard.
So we've got 5 weeks left.
Us,
yeah, that's
a lot.
Pretty bad. Yeah. So who's going to take this as you look at these two teams, Walt?
Well, I mean, if you look at the wide receivers, Soaring Eagles is going to have to pull someone off the scrap pile to fill that slot, which is why it's empty. I got to tell you, there are some good matchups. I mean, Will Levis against Tampa. I mean, you saw what C.J. Stroud did to him. I mean, they're really bad.
Yep.
I am curious, though, in the Montgomery and Jahmyr Gibbs, if Montgomery's going to immediately get the carries he had before he got hurt.
Yep.
So that's a biggie. But, I flip at the Pantloads. Wow. I mean, you got Jamar Chase is going to play. I saw it already.
Yep.
The 22, I bet you he gets it. He's probably going to have a huge day.
Yeah.
T. Higgins is out. But Lamar Jackson against Cleveland,
that's a tough matchup.
That's not a great matchup, but, and he's sticking with Zach Moss, which I hate seeing.
I hate seeing it, too, because, this guy's ranked really high. He had a great early season, but Jonathan Taylor is a thing. Like, they're not going to be able to spread the ball around between the two of them enough to keep them both relevant.
Yeah, so I'll say it this way. If the Soaring Eagles can find a wide receiver off the scrap heap that, say, gets 8 to 10 points, I think the Soaring Eagles will win. There's my prediction.
All right. Well, Sox fan was hoping you would say that because he didn't want you to say Pantloads. Clearly, Sox fan does not want you to. I believe he feels like you have the power to curse his favorite team.
I think I do.
And they also weighed in that if Soaring Eagles gets another injury, they'll be starting Hangle McCringleberry, who I didn't know was eligible this week.
No.
I thought he was practice squad stuff. But Ty, who takes his Sody Pantloads and worst team? Not worst team. Sody Pantloads and Soaring Eagles.
That'll make Sox fan happier. I think the Pantloads, again, self-destruct on the Soaring Eagles side. I think the Pantloads have enough. As long as Jamar Chase is actually going to play. I will say that.
Yeah.
If he doesn't, that's going to be a tough hold over time. But it looks like he's going to.
Yeah, he's going to play.
All right.
Yeah, I think Sox the Pantloads will pull through.
All right. Well, we got to play him, and we'll see. Will Levis could go 50 points this week. It'd be interesting to watch. And where are we headed next?
Well, we got let Ty talk about his 10 points out of Thielen last night.
Ooh, yeah.
Yeah.
No lineup needed versus worst
team
ever. Yeah, it is a little bit. Worst team ever. Third place team at 6-3 taking on no lineup 4-5 in sixth place. Right now, worst team ever has a 10-0 lead with a projection total of 115. Deadlock at projections right now. Ty, tell us about your game.
Yeah, well, I mean, I'm not going by the projections. That certainly lineup is not set in stone yet. Definitely might be making some changes there. But yeah, I mean, Thielen with only the 10, I don't know what it is, but Bryce Young does not really look Thielen's way the way the backup was, the weeks prior. Mm-hmm. Since he's come back, I think he's maxed out at 15 points, if I recall correctly, and he's gone 7 and 10 in the last 2 weeks. So the automatic start of Thielen, might be looking the other way in matchup dependent going forward, but we'll see what happens there. It's going to kill me to start Pollard again after his 2 dismal weeks back-to-back, but against the Giants, I mean, I don't think I have a choice. I think that's just too juicy to pass up on. Yeah. But aside from that, I think, the lineup, it's could be some changes in there. But I think Pollard, if Pollard can get me This might sound like a lot for him, but if he can get me 20, I think I'll win.
All right. Well, No Lineup has made a lot of changes to their lineup over the last week. Even you see Geno Smith sitting up in the quarterback position. They've plugged in Mixon and Dell, who they acquired in a trade. Is this team over tinkering, or are they doing what they need to do to win?
No, I like what he's doing. I think he was right to tinker, because there were definitely some areas where I felt, getting Tank Dell helped short him up. He needed a receiver.
Yep.
I mean, it's a tough week. He loses two of his best players, Kelsey and Mahomes. That's unfortunate.
Yeah.
And I don't know who the hell's projecting Bijan to get 13. I mean, are you kidding me? So, I mean, I look at that and say,
I agree. Some of the projections, I don't know.
I don't know. And I agree with Tyler. I think Pollard's the key. And I do have a feeling this is going to be a breakout week for Pollard, for points-wise. I just got a gut feeling.
If he's not going to do it this week, when's he going to do it?
Exactly.
And but he's doing it on the bench is where he'll be doing it.
That's true.
And then we'll talk about a second owner I fleeced in a trade for getting dumping Pollard on him. So, I mean, exactly. If he does nothing, I'm going to say it. I feel really good about the trades I made on both of these guys that I decided, and maybe I waited too long to pull the plug on both of them. But I'm glad I did, honestly.
Yeah, this is the time to make moves. I threw a league note up a couple weeks ago, and I said that exact thing. If you're going to make moves, now's the time, and teams are doing exactly that.
Yep.
We're going to leave worst team ever alone on our. We're saying some negative things about their players, which is good, because when we say good things about their players, like we cursed Kamara, I believe. The last couple weeks.
I go up and down the lineup.
Yeah, we cursed.
Maybe you should do that for me. Why don't you say something bad about me real quick?
Yeah,
that's right.
Well, you ain't gonna like this because I think you're gonna win. That's my opinion.
Damn it!
So sorry about that.
Brock Purdy will go for 75 points this week. So sorry about that. So, yeah, that's week 10. Is that when? Oh, we got the beans and the moppers. Oh yeah, this is gonna be a fun game. How could I forget this?
Yeah,
Whopper Moppers, our first place team at 7-2, taking on fourth place 6-3 Boston Beans. Right now, the projections are going the Moppers way 122 to 115, but this one's gonna be pretty fun. Good matchups. I was looking at this earlier. Good matchups around. Walt, how do you see this game going?
I mean, the Moppers are on a roll. I don't. Again, he got a big break with Madison, with Akers, so now he's almost a guy you're going to play every week. Tough matchup against the Saints, but he's got ETN, back in. And Diggs is against Denver. Oh yeah, Burrow against Houston.
Yep.
Nice. And I do like what I've seen out of Demario Douglas too. So I think that's, even though he loses Higgins, which is unfortunate.
That's tough.
It is, and AJ, but still, I mean, it's definitely a bit of a fall, but it's not horrible. And then I flip it over, and I think McCaffrey, he's got some, that's not bad against Jacksonville. You got Goff, not bad.
Oh, that's a great matchup.
Yeah, but the guys that worry me are the three receivers: Evans, Lockett, McLaurin.
Yeah,
you're asking a lot out of them to compete against Diggs, Ayuk.
Yeah.
So.
Yep.
I just see the Moppers the party keeps going on, man. I think they keep rolling.
Ty, do you see the Whopper Moppers taking this, or is this the week that Boston Beans rises up and scores a bunch of points?
I think Tom's going to take this one. Things are looking Tom's way right now. He dropped an 18 bomb in Fortnite tonight. He's got a curly-haired lady that he's looking to explore things with. It's
wow.
Tom. I think it's Tom's week right now. So I think he's gonna come through, put in a big point total, and kick the Beans back where they belong.
Could it be the year of Tom?
It could be the year.
Could be the year of Tom, but worst team ever is going to stand in his way. So sorry about that.
Whopper Moppers is seemingly projected by the show to take this one. I'm going to stay out of it, but what a shootout! Like the projections, never mind the projections. The matchups on both sides of the ball here. I think there's going to be a lot of points scored. This is my shootout of the week for week 10.
Definitely.
My prediction.
Definitely.
It's going to be good.
Yeah, absolutely. And so we've come to the end of the discussion on week 10. And as we talked a little bit off air, Walt, before the show, everyone is in it. And we say that sometimes mathematically, blah, blah, blah. But I really get the feeling this year that you can see these teams, this bottom four, they can start interjecting themselves into that 3, 4, 5, 6 spot over the next 3-4 weeks. Easy, I think. It just seems a little different than years past to me.
Yeah, and I also feel this could be the year a 6-win team could potentially secure that last spot.
Yeah.
I just, and I got to look at the schedule. And that's one thing. And I think maybe for next week I'll do a little schedule analysis.
Could be a little time for a little premature bracketology.
Yeah. I think so, because we'll see how this shakes out. I mean, this could end up bringing some clarity this week. If, say you win, that's a big hurt for me, puts you in a lot better shape. If the, Beans lose and Huey loses and the Rifle win, this starts getting super interesting.
Yeah. There's going to be some fun lineups. There could be some angry people this weekend.
And I want to make my last statement is that I want to declare right now, if somehow Huey wins the title, I want to advocate that the Soaring Eagles get half of that title as part of their, in the history of the league. Because he deserves it if they get it. Because I just want to end on that note.
All right. It seems as though the consensus on air is that this Josh Allen move is only beneficial to Huey Lewis. We're going to see if Soaring Eagles had some mojo going that we're not aware of. That will also be fun to talk about over the next few weeks.
I hope he joins us next week if he can.
Ty, you've been solid in the top 6, that bracket. We talk about top 6 and bottom 4, and you've been solid. You've been at the top, and you've been interspersed in the top 3. Do you see what we're saying is valid, where the bottom 4 could start to make a move, or are you a top 6 guy right now, and it's just a matter of you 6 are jockeying for playoff position?
Yeah, I think I'm going to go with the first, I'll say 4 lineup spots. I mean, I don't think the Pantlows are in trouble, but I think out of the teams, are coming to the top of the standings, they're the most at risk, if you will. But I think the Huey Lewis spot around that 6 could be up for grabs. I don't know. I think any one of you guys could really grab that.
Well, I'm hoping.
Yeah. Oh, and I guess a good time to interject that with the amount of trade activity, and a few of us have been approached multiple times, there's fear in those teams.
Yeah.
Because they're starting to look for, trades to try to patch up some of the holes in the lineups they have.
Yeah, there's no bigger indicator of that than a team that's been really solid and streaking like the Soaring Eagles. It puts up the trade that they did. Like, they see something, but they feel like still in that place that they are, second place, they need to make a move. And so that's BARFF. That's what we love about BARFF.
Yeah.
I not just BARFF. I just want the owner knows what he's doing.
Sometimes the best moves you make are the ones you don't do. So,
you don't.
Big Soaring Eagles fans here at HQ, so I gotta think he's got something up his sleeve. This episode was brought to us by the good people at Pens.com, and I'm not gonna lie, when the package came and it said Pens.com, I did not think it said Pens. And I thought, how drunk was I? But we thank them for this BARFF Fantasy Football personalized pen with BARFF HQ on it. I believe this is an affiliate company with the company that we got the hats from. So,
there we go.
So
okay, that explains it.
Yeah.
Yep.
No, it's a start of sponsorship. Come on. We're monetizing this thing.
I gotta do something. I gotta stop. My phone's been blowing up from work this whole time, so I gotta just do this, people. And so that is BARFF Fantasy Football Podcast episode 4, week 10. Ty, thanks for calling in. It's always fun when we have that participation. Thanks, man. I want to also throw a shout out to probably our number 1 commentator and the number 1 fan of Sody Pantloads, Sox fan 7687, throwing the only contributions to the chat tonight. So we thank you out there. If you don't have access to a screen, or if you have food insecurity or any of those things, we're here for you, Sox fan 7687.
Yeah, maybe the Pantlows could set up a GoFundMe for Sox fan 3270. So I'd be happy to donate a little.
Yeah, absolutely. See if we can't set you up with Pens.com. And that is our show for tonight, Walt. Thanks for coming all the way down again.
Always a pleasure.
What a great time. All right, people, week 10 is coming up. Good luck to all.
Good luck, everyone.
Good luck.